Imagine for a moment that you are walking alone through a forest at night. You cannot see more than a few feet in any direction. You know that you are not alone. You can hear the faint snap of branches, the rustle of something moving just beyond the edge of your vision, the soft, deliberate breathing of creatures hidden in the dark. Now imagine that every other creature in this forest is armed. Every one of them is afraid of you. And every one of them has learned that the safest thing to do when you do not know who is out there is to stay silent, stay hidden, and if necessary, fire first. That is not a metaphor for some distant fairy tale. According to a growing number of physicists, astrobiologists, and game theorists, that is a metaphor for the universe we actually live in. And it has a name. They call it the dark forest theory. In the next few minutes, I am going to walk you through the 10 specific things this theory predicts about our universe. And by the end, I want you to decide for yourself whether the silence we hear when we look up at the stars is empty or whether something is listening back. Before we get to the predictions, a quick grounding. The dark forest theory was popularized by the Chinese science fiction author Liu Cixin in the second novel of his three-body problem trilogy. But the underlying logic is older than the book and far more serious than fiction. It is, at its core, an attempt to answer one of the greatest unsolved problems in modern physics, the Fermi Paradox. The paradox is simple to state. The universe is roughly 13.8 billion years old. Our galaxy alone contains somewhere between 100 and 400 billion stars. A significant fraction of those stars host planets in the habitable zone. The math, applied honestly, suggests that intelligent life should have arisen many times in many places long before we showed up. So where is everybody? The dark forest theory does not answer that question by saying aliens are rare. It answers it by saying aliens are everywhere. And they have very, very good reasons to stay quiet. With that foundation in place, here are the 10 things this theory predicts about the universe we live in. The first prediction is that the universe is statistically full of intelligent civilizations, even though we have detected exactly none of them. Under the dark forest model, the apparent emptiness of space is not evidence that no one is out there. It is evidence that the rational survival strategy for any sufficiently intelligent species is silence. The numbers, when you run them through the Drake equation with even modest assumptions, are staggering. There should be tens of thousands of advanced civilizations in our galaxy alone. The fact that we hear nothing is not a contradiction of that number. According to this theory, it is the direct consequence of it. The second prediction is that SETI's 6 decades of silence are not a failure of the search. They are exactly what the theory expects. Since the early 1960s, humans have been pointing increasingly sensitive radio telescopes at the sky and listening for any structured signal from another civilization. We have heard nothing. Mainstream interpretations call this the Great Silence. And most assume it means we are looking in the wrong place, or with the wrong instruments, or for the wrong kind of signal. The dark forest theory offers a darker interpretation. We are hearing nothing because anyone smart enough to broadcast learned long ago that broadcasting gets you killed. The third prediction is the most disturbing, and it is the heart of the entire model. Any civilization that reveals its location is statistically likely to be destroyed within a relatively short cosmic timeframe. The reasoning is rooted in game theory. In a universe where you cannot verify the intentions of a stranger, where the cost of being wrong is extinction, and where technological progress is exponential, the only rational move when you detect another civilization is to assume the worst and act accordingly. A civilization that announces itself is, in this framework, simply a civilization that has not yet learned to be afraid. The fourth prediction concerns the existence of self-replicating probes. If even one ancient civilization adopted a strategy of preemptive defense, it could seed the galaxy with what physicists call von Neumann machines, self-replicating probes designed to spread across star systems, monitor for emerging intelligence, and, when necessary, eliminate it. Author Fred Saberhagen called these berserkers in his 1960s science fiction. And the astronomer David Brin took the idea seriously enough to publish on it. Under the dark forest model, the existence of such probes is not science fiction. It is a near inevitable consequence of any galaxy that has hosted hostile, long-lived civilizations. The fifth prediction is that in any sufficiently advanced civilization, stealth technology will outpace detection technology. This is a subtle but powerful idea. We tend to assume that the more advanced a species becomes, the easier it would be for us to spot them. Vast Dyson spheres, interstellar engineering, waste heat radiating from megastructures. The dark forest model predicts the opposite. Civilizations that survive long enough to become advanced are precisely the civilizations that have learned to hide their waste heat, mask their megastructures, and minimize their electromagnetic footprint. The smartest species in the galaxy are, by definition, the ones we cannot see. The sixth prediction is a direct warning to humanity, and it is one that scientists like Stephen Hawking spent the last years of his life articulating. The deliberate practice of messaging to extraterrestrial intelligence, known as METI, may be one of the most dangerous experiments our species has ever conducted. Unlike SETI, which simply listens, METI actively transmits powerful, structured signals into the cosmos, deliberately attempting to attract attention. Under the dark forest framework, this is the precise behaviour the theory predicts will get a civilization eliminated. Hawking compared it to standing up in the middle of that dark forest and shouting, "Hello." The seventh prediction overturns one of our most cherished assumptions about extraterrestrial intelligence. Most popular discussions assume that older civilizations would be wiser, more peaceful, more enlightened. The dark forest theory predicts the opposite. Older civilizations are more dangerous, not less. The reasoning is selection-based. Civilizations that survive across millions of years are the ones whose ancestors were ruthless enough to eliminate competitors before competitors could eliminate them. Peaceful civilizations, in this model, do not last. They are filtered out. The longer a civilization has existed, the more likely it is to have inherited and refined the strategies that kept its ancestors alive. And those strategies, almost by necessity, involve preemptive aggression. The eighth prediction concerns the weapon physics of a dark forest universe. The theory predicts that any sufficiently advanced civilization will weaponize the only resource that is genuinely abundant in space, and that is mass moving at relativistic speed. A relativistic kill vehicle, or RKV, is a projectile accelerated to a significant fraction of the speed of light. At those velocities, even a small object carries the destructive force of a planetary-scale impactor. Worse, the projectile arrives almost simultaneously with any light or warning signal it might emit. There is no realistic defense. Under the dark forest model, RKVs are not exotic technology. They are the predictable, almost trivial consequence of any civilization with sufficient energy budgets, which means almost any civilization more advanced than our own. The ninth prediction is, in some ways, the most philosophically unsettling. Game theory, applied honestly to the conditions of interstellar contact, predicts that mutual annihilation, not cooperation, is the rational equilibrium. The reasoning is straightforward. Cooperation requires trust. Trust requires verification. Verification requires communication. And communication, across light years, takes so long that by the time you have confirmed the other side's intentions, their technology may have advanced unimaginably. In conditions of total uncertainty and exponential technological growth, the rational strategy collapses to a single move: strike first or be struck. The dark forest theory does not claim that aliens are evil. It claims that the geometry of space, the speed of light, and the logic of survival together produce a universe in which silence and preemption are simply the optimal play. The 10th prediction is the one that brings this theory closest to home. For roughly the last 100 years, Earth has been broadcasting. Our radio signals, our television transmissions, our radar pulses, our deliberate METI messages, all of them have been expanding outward at the speed of light in a sphere now roughly 200 light years across. Within that sphere are tens of thousands of star systems. Under the dark forest model, it is not a question of whether we have been detected. It is a question of whether anyone close enough, advanced enough, and old enough to act has chosen to. The theory predicts that they have heard us. The only question is what they decide to do about it. So what do we make of all this? The honest answer is that the dark forest theory is not, and may never be, a proven scientific fact. It is a model. It is a framework. It is a way of interpreting the silence that surrounds us. But it is a framework that survives serious analysis, that aligns with what we actually observe when we point our most sensitive instruments at the sky, and that has earned the cautious respect of physicists, astrobiologists, and game theorists who are not in the habit of taking science fiction seriously. The reason the dark forest theory keeps coming back, the reason it keeps showing up in serious academic discussion alongside the Great Filter and the zoo hypothesis and the rare earth hypothesis, is that it does something none of the cheerful alternatives can do. It explains the silence. And it does so without requiring us to believe that we are alone, that we are special, or that we are first. It only requires us to believe that the universe rewards caution and punishes those who forget that they are walking through a forest in the dark. If you found this video valuable, the best thing you can do is leave a comment below telling me which of the 10 predictions you find most compelling or most flawed. The conversation in the comments is, honestly, the part of this channel I look forward to most. If you are new here, this channel is dedicated to taking the deepest questions in physics, cosmology, and astrobiology seriously, for adults who want substance without spectacle. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, look up, but maybe, just maybe, do not shout.